Jones. Here. Mrs. Powell.
Here.
Mr. Seesaw.
Here.
Mrs. Stone.
Here.
Mr. Tinson. Mr. Arnold.
Here. Number 2 is minutes of monthly reports. 2.01 is approval of minutes. Motion is to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of October 24th, 2018. Do I have this motion?
So moved. Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 2.02 is invoice listing. Motion is to approve the invoice listing from October 2018 to November 2018. Do I have this motion?
So moved. Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 2.03 is the treasurer's report. Ms. Powell.
As of September 30th, 2018, PennDOT's balance was $52,497,974. During October 2018, local, state, and federal revenues totaled $5,536,729. Disbursements were issued in the amount of $5,791,072. As of October 31st, 2018, PennDOT's current balance is $52,243,630. The motion is to approve the treasurer's report for October 2018. Do I have this motion? So moved. Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Number 3 is the student representative's report to the board. Terry?
So Riley's not here, so it's gonna take a while. Last week, Sun Valley had their PBIS Turkey Bowl pep rally. There are many fun activities to participate, like the turkey leg eating contest and which grade could set the dinner table the fastest. The second marking period is off to a good start, and all the teacher rotations from the mods were successful. There doesn't seem to be any confusion for the students. This Friday, Peer Buddy's participating in the polar plunge at Drexel. Each person has to raise $35 to participate, and the money's going to go to the Special Olympics. The High Q team is preparing for their first competition soon, and they're prepared to come home with a win. Fall sports are officially over, and our winter sports are up and running. Our boys hockey team won the Turkey Cup against Chi, and our boys basketball team is headed to Massachusetts this Friday for a game. The Sun Valley Band this year got second place at States with their production of Black Swan. And lastly, the winter formal is December 14th in the Sun Valley cafeteria, and the theme is Hawaiian holiday, so there's going to be a lot of tropical decorations.
Thank you, Gary. Number 4 is the superintendent's report. Dr. Slaughter.
Thank you, Mr. Armour. Good evening. Thank you, everybody in attendance tonight, for joining us for the November meeting of the PennDOT School Board. It's the first time that I've been here that we've met after Thanksgiving, so I hope that it was a wonderful Thanksgiving week for everyone. That holiday, as many know, and as Kara just mentioned, brings along the Turkey Bowl football game between Sun Valley and Chichester, and it is one of the last remaining Thanksgiving Day rivalries left in Pennsylvania. I believe there's 3 in Delaware County and just 12 in the whole Commonwealth. So it was a great week for students at both schools, filled with a lot of spirit, very healthy rivalry. In the end, we did come up a bit short. I lost my bet with Superintendent Norelli. We are looking forward to hosting the game next year, though, on what will still be a rather new and Georgia Stadium turf field. Before I share some comments on my superintendent's report tonight, I want to extend most of the time from my report to allow Mr. Ed Furman of Manly Certified Public Accountants to share with the board the results of their annual audit of our financials. He has already briefed me on the findings. I've read his report. I want to thank his firm and his staff for continued top-notch work. I also want to thank our business manager, Tracy Marshall, and assistant business manager, Eric Zedley, for making sure that we ended up with a clean and very positive and excellent audit again this year. So thank you for that. I will turn it over again to Mr. Furman, and welcome back again this year.
Thanks for having me. We have completed the audit, and we just actually finished the full financial statements, so you should be getting those in PDF version shortly. Like I've done in prior years, I put together an overall summary of that document and that handout. Does everyone have a copy of that? I'll walk you through that and then just stop me with any questions. The first page is the agenda items. The page after that's required communications. We issued an unqualified clean opinion on the financial statements. We also do testing that's called single audit testing, and that's testing that we're required to do on federal programs. So based on the amount of federal money you get and the type of program, the federal government dictates what audit work we have to do. And we had no findings with that work also. We'll also issue what's called an SAS 114 report, which is an audit committee letter. And that's required for us to issue that to indicate if we had any problems with the audit, disagreements, unusual transactions. And we had nothing to report there, and we tested the internal control system, and there's no weaknesses in the system for the district. The page after that is just an overall summary of some of the audit work that we do. We download 100% of the general ledger into our audit software, and then we run data analytic work with that software. So in expenses, we run a lot of pivot tables where we line out each expense item month by month, and then we're looking for duplicate payments, unusual transactions. We also, with the history of the district, can also highlight anything that's an unusual trend. And then we use that as a breakdown as far as what audit work we then select for testing. Things like the cash accounts, we look at the reconciliations. We also look at the Act 72 collateral, which is the federal assets that the bank pledges for a government account. And that's in accordance with the State Act 72. Debt and revenue, we do a lot of third-party confirmations. And again, at the bottom of the page, talks about the data extraction work we do. We're basically touching 100% of your transactions through our audit software. The last page of the handout is just a historical trend of some of the financial information. And the top section there is called the government-wide financial statements. And that's a full accrual method of accounting where you capitalize your fixed assets, you book depreciation expense, debt's recorded as a liability. So walking you through the 2018 numbers on the top section on the balance sheet, the cash and investment increase basically occurred because of the surplus and also with the new debt that was issued during the year that has not been spent yet. The capital assets, once you see the full financial statements, you'll see that the district has about $152 million of costs that have been capitalized in fixed assets and accumulated depreciation of about $48 million. So in theory, if we're depreciating those assets over the estimated useful life, you've got close to 2/3 of your life left on the capital assets of the district, which is very positive. Debt, as I mentioned, did go up during the year. There was one change in accounting this year that the Government Accounting Standards Board implemented this year, and that's dealing with the OPEB obligation. And the OPEB is other post-employment benefits. So it's basically the medical coverage that's provided to retirees. So the method of calculating that unfunded liability changed this year. And also PSERS also provides an OPEB benefit, and that had not been recorded, it just been footnoted in the past. Now that liability has to be recorded. PSERS does an actuarial study of what the unfunded medical coverage liability is and then allocates it to the school districts. So that's really the main jump on why that went from about $1.5 million up to close to 6.2 million. One positive trend, it wasn't a material change, but the pension liability through PSERS did drop a little bit last year. And hopefully with, since they do a beginning of the year valuation, hopefully with the investment performance last year, hopefully that trend will continue. That leaves you with a net position or net equity of a deficit of about 36 million. But again, it's really coming from the OPEB liability and the pension liability. So if you take those two out, you've got a very strong balance sheet. The revenue and expenses, property taxes had an increase. The EIT was down slightly, and the grant revenue was pretty comparable. And really on the expense side, there were either small increases or actually some decreases, which left you a net change of a positive 1.4 under the accrual method of accounting. The second set of funds is the governmental funds, and the main fund there is the general fund, and that's how you keep your books, do your budgeting, keep your books throughout the entire year. So the general fund balance finished 2018 close to $15 million, and there was a negative 225,000 for the year in the general fund activity. The general fund balance, again, when you see the breakdown of that, the unassigned fund balance will be about 4.2 million, and you've committed some of that fund balance, about 4.8 million in capital projects, and almost $3 million for PSERS stabilization, hopefully covering that liability. And again, the deficit for the year was about 225,000. You actually budgeted using about 2 million of the fund balance. So the general fund had a favorable budget to actual, about $1.7 million, and mainly on the expense side. The food service fund is the last fund, small deficit there, and again, it was a deficit for the year of about 54,000. So overall, a good strong general fund balance, and backing out the OPEB and the pension liabilities, the full balance sheet is also strong, finishing 2018. And as I mentioned, we had no findings in our audit work. The records are in very good shape. We were one of the earliest audits that we start. And again, there was really no material audit adjustment for the year.
Any questions for Mr. Furman?
That's a quick run through. That full document's about 70 pages. So, and that change in OPEB, the county actually added about 10 pages of footnotes to the financials.
I think there are two things I wanted to just add on to this that occurred to me when Mr. Furman was giving us our briefing. The one issue that he mentioned was the slight decrease in earned income taxes. And in talking with Mrs. Marshall, some of that had to do with when the money was transmitted to us in 2017. So that did surprise us because of the strength of the economy and the personnel positions in the area. We don't believe that reflects lower earnings. It is more when the district collected the earned income taxes in 2017 versus 2018. The other thing I wanted to share, and this is what I love this form that Mr. Furman brings along, is get to see where our expenses are going, over time. A little bit different than the graphs that I've shown the board in the spring. And I would point out that, I think the business office and all of our administrators, we continue to stay focused on spending money in the right places. And if you look at the growth in expenses in instruction, which are our salaries and our teaching positions, our administrators, the people who are doing the work, curriculum, materials and supplies for students, salaries and benefits, instruction has grown more and considerably more than our growth in support services and non-instructional services and food service. So, I point that out to the board because we still are staying focused and spending money in the right places, despite the fact that what the community sees as newer schools and upgraded fields, they are costs. We are not doing that at the expense of instruction. That remains our primary place of interest as it should be. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for having us, we appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 5, announcements for the public. In accordance with Act 48, the Sunshine Law, the board met in executive session tonight to discuss litigation and personnel items. Comments by members of the board? Number 7, items for board information. Just wanted to inform the public the school board policies, first readings of board policy 248, 348, and 251 have been. Number 8, public comment. Number 9 is items for board review. Starts on page 2, carries on to page 3, 4, and concludes on the top of page 5. This references the PennDOCO budget 2018-2019, Act 93 plans, PDEA agreement, PDESPA agreement, PDSSPA agreement, and the PA School Code section 1108B. It is the administrative recommendation to approve all personnel items as presented. Do I have this motion?
So moved. Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Tonight, the board utilized the consent agenda to approve items 9.03 through 9.12 with the exception of 9.11. We'll vote on that separately. All contracts, preparations, and solicitation of bids are subject to review of the approval of solicitor. Do I have this motion?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 9.11, residential fee waiver request. Motion is to approve the one-time request to waive the late payment penalty for 2018 tax payment as presented. Do I have this motion?
I'd like to deny the motion. Second.
I need a, well, I would need a motion and then a second. So do I have a motion to approve? I need a first and a second. First.
No, I motion to deny.
No. Now we have a second. All those in favor?
Clarify, are we saying yes to
So, yes would be approving it, no would be not. If we get a no, we'll have to.
approving Dawn's motion or approving the motion?
The motion on the table is to deny the request. Yes.
Okay. Motion to deny. Mrs. Denny.
Yes.
Mrs. Essler. Ms. Hilferty.
Yes, deny.
Mrs. Jones.
Yes, deny.
Mrs. Powell.
Yes, deny.
Mr. Seesum.
No.
Mrs. Stone.
No.
Mr. Tinsley. Mr. Armour.
No.
The vote is 4-3, and the motion to deny carries.
Thank you. Number 10, comments by members of the public. See none. Comments by members of the board.
When I was finished up with presenting the information for Mr. Furman, I nodded to Mr. Armour to go ahead, but I actually had some other comments. That's on me, so thank you for moving ahead. But there were a couple of things I wanted to mention for the record. Over the past month, you may have noticed some new styles in our social media and our website posts, and that is the fruit of the labors from Mrs. Lisa Palmerini, who's here tonight. So I wanted to say join me in welcoming her to PennDOCO School District. She's doing very great work with Joey DiCamillo and a very super start in her role as communications coordinator. The state of Pennsylvania recently released its first benchmark future ready data, which is now available online on the PDE website. The future ready indices measure and report more than just straight test scores. The Department of Education sees it as a more holistic dashboard of data to show some of the vital signs of schools in Pennsylvania. School district administrators are now just beginning to pore over that data, which includes measures on student attendance, PSSA and Keystone Achievement graduation rates, college entrance exam rates, achievement data by various demographic groups, and college and career preparation results. Across the district, our results in college and career readiness were very, very strong, especially strong. And on the other hand, I see a need for continued close attention to the achievement performance of students with learning disabilities at the high school level. Sun Valley's ACT, AP, and SAT scores are at or near all-time school highs, yet even those fine scores are just one small data point on our overall academic program. For instance, I've been particularly impressed with the work in guided reading instruction at our elementary school level. I'm proud of the way that the staff has really embraced the Fox and Pinnell materials. The training has been required for them to have this kind of high-quality, high-level guided reading instruction that's occurring every day. And they're making great use of the materials that the board purchased this year. And our administrators are reporting very positive initial results. Like ours, many districts strive to have all students reading confidently by the end of third grade. And the work that our teachers are doing, focusing on this area especially, is definitely showing early signs of success. With Mr. Palmer headed to the technical school, interviews for our high school assistant principal vacancy began last night. More will come on Friday to complete our first round of interviews. Sun Valley attracted over 70 applicants for this position, and it reflects, I believe, very positively on the district and the school. We may request that the school board come together in mid-December to approve that appointment, but we will wait to see how the rest of the interview process plays out. Finally, I wanted to publicly commend our bus drivers, our bus aides, maintenance workers, and our teachers and administrators who stayed as late as was needed to deal with the winter storm that hit us about 2 weeks ago. The timing of that storm was awful, as the region knows. It was predicted to change over to rain by noon, and at noon it was clearly that was not happening. So it was a very difficult afternoon, really especially for our drivers, but also for everybody who made kids feel safe, made them understand that getting home was going to take a little while longer. There was a lot of patience, there was a lot of last minute work by our maintenance to get our lots cleared so our staff could get home and off the lots comfortably as well. So I just wanted to thank everybody for that, and it really takes a lot of hard work by a lot of hands to make sure that everybody got home safe and sound. We had heard some horror stories of some school districts where kids were getting home at 8:30, 9 o'clock at night out in the suburbs, and I'm happy that we didn't have to deal with that, but it was still a difficult afternoon, and a lot of our staff pitched in and really were helpful, so thank you for that. And let's hope that that's the last one of the winter, but I doubt it, not with the way the precipitation has been coming through this area. I worry that it could be a very difficult winter, but we shall see. Thank you.
Comments by members of the board? Future meetings, our next meeting is our reorganization meeting, December 3rd at 7:30 here at the Service Center. That'll be followed by a special meeting here at the Service Center directly after the reorg. Motion for adjournment?
So moved.